Hi ho, and welcome. My name is Otis, and this is a special episode of Cooking with Otis. Whether our journey lasts for years or just one day, I can't tell you how excited I am to take this first step with you. And now, let's begin this special episode of Cooking with Otis. Okay, we're back. So what I normally do is with my ribs, and again, this is just the way I do it. It's not professional, it's not competition. So if you're looking for that, this is not the video. This is just for a couple friends that wanted to see how I do mine. I'm gonna show you. It's nothing special, nothing secretive, stuff I've learned online from friends and various around just being out here. So what I do is I get my meat. You can get your meat from any butcher or Sam's Club, Costco, your local grocery store. I'm doing baby backs this time. And what I usually do is I pull them out the pack, rinse them off with cold water. I look for anything as far as blood spots and I get those out. Any hanging meat or extra meat that's hanging off, I pull off. I can pull off with my hand. I do that and rinse them off with cold water. Once I'm done with that, I go ahead and I will take one and I'll look for anything. Sorry, as you can see, this is my spices and rubs and what I use for my ribs. And then once I'm done with that, getting everything prepared, I look for anything, any hanging meat or anything, any fat or anything like that. And as you can see here, you have that. So normally you want to try and pull that, but I'll cut the extra pieces off because what they'll do on the grill, ooh, that's good right there. They'll burn and it'll burn before your meat's done cooking. So, you know, you have various pieces of fat. I get rid of that. Normally in competition, what I've seen and read is you want to square these up. You'll take your bony knife and trim these up and square them off. And there you have competition squared, but I don't do that. I'm just looking for extra pieces of fatty tissue or anything like that. These ones I got from Sam's Club or you can get them from Costco, and usually the membrane's not on them, but you still want to double check. And from there, what we're gonna do is, no extra pieces of fat, is gonna go ahead and we're gonna go into the next portion of this which is pulling the membrane. Okay, so have you ever been to somebody's barbecue and their ribs, as soon as you bite into it, the backing closest to the bone is tough or chewy or pulley? Well, that means that person didn't pull off the membrane of their baby backs or whatever ribs they're cooking. The membrane is a piece of skin it's membrane that's still on there. You're going to want to go ahead and try and get that off. If you leave it on, it makes your ribs kind of rubbery when you're trying to pull the meat off the bone. So the best thing to do that I've learned is to try and get something started like so. And that's the membrane right there on the back closest to the bone. I go ahead and take a paper towel, hook it, grab it, and just pull. And that is membrane. And as you can see, that white film that used to be on there isn't there anymore, and it looks like something like muscle now, or it looks cleaner. That's meaning that you have the membrane off. So that's the first one done. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these, which I have 5 to do, and I'll come right back with the next step. And we're back. All right, so I've taken off all membranes, trimmed off all excess pieces of fat and meat, kind of trimmed them up real nicely. And what you want to do at this point is I take a paper towel for any any wet areas, and I dab the paper towel against it on both sides. And then I go ahead and add my base. Some people use mustard, some people don't use. I like to use olive oil, but a little bit with the garlic in it. I go ahead Sprinkle it on generously, rub it in a little bit. Nothing too fancy. Gives it a nice garlic smell. Then I take my meat tenderizer, unseasoned, sprinkle it generously. The meat tenderizer, some may disagree. I use it because it makes my meat a lot more tender, especially when the meat tenderizer gets to sit for hours or overnight. It attacks the tough parts of the actual piece of meat for me. Again, that's one side. I go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Dab any water or anything else. Then I go ahead and apply my base. Not enough base. And then my meat tenderizer. Very generous. Pat it in a little bit. And there you have it, that's the base. What we're gonna do next, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up my special rub, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've actually cleaned or cold washed, cleaned, trimmed, pulled the membranes, I've used my meat tenderizer, my base, which was my garlic olive oil. Now it's time for the rub. The rub is nothing special. I do a mixture. You can do your own rubs. You can look online. I'm gonna try that next. But right now, what I use and have had a lot of success with is Dave's Rib Rub. And then I also use a special rub from Oak Ridge, which is a sweet rub called from Oak Ridge Barbecue. I get it on Amazon and I mix it in a little bit. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how I do it. Take one of your rib racks, and I like to start on the back. Sorry. And I do very lightly with my sweet. I just go over it very lightly just to give it a little sweet taste to it. And then the actual rub that I like to use is Dave's. It's got a lot of herbs and stuff in it. Sprinkle it very generously. Not too much to make it salty. Got to be careful. You'll find your right wrist movement when you've done this a million times. And then from there, I pound it in a little bit. Flip, same thing, very lightly. Dave's. Oops, missed a spot. Make sure you get the undersides or the unexposed sides that sometimes get missed, because those are places where you bite into and you're like, oh, not as flavorful. I like to have my ribs flavorful all the way around. And there you have it. 1 down, 5 to go. I'll be right back to finish up and conclude the first part of this video series. Hi-ho again. We're back. So, to recap, take them out of the packaging, rinse cold, rinse them off, get any extra blood and stuff off, any blood spots. From there, I trim any excess meat off, hanging meat, any excess fat hanging. Then you go ahead and get the membrane, you pull that off, And then I start with my base, which is the extra virgin olive oil, garlic flavor. And then I use meat tenderizer. And then from there, I use my rubs. Dave's Ribs rub and a little bit of the Oak Ridge sweet rub. Mix them together, and there you have it. So go ahead and get another side of that. And then there you have it. Tune in tomorrow. We're gonna go talk how I set up my fire, my grill. I will be smoking these with hickory or mesquite wood. And it's a 5-hour cook at 250. So tune in to the next video. I'm gonna go over that, and then we'll finish these up. And then we may have some, what were those things called? The vegetables. We may have some vegetables to go with this. But some of these racks were requested. I was surprised some people want to go ahead and get some of the Cooking with Otis ribs for the holiday. And yeah, tune into the next video, and we'll see you then. Cooking with Otis.